It can't just be like an easy way to... And we're live, so I should stop talking and start talking about what we're actually talking about. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Movie Club Strikes Back. This is our weekly hangout where a bunch of crazy, like-minded movie buffs all decide to get together once a week and talk about movies. And this week, we couldn't not have a tribute to the late, great Robin Williams because he was amazing. He gave us so many wonderful movies and so many wonderful memories that tonight we just want to honor that and just talk about him and his career. So before we get started, though, let's see who we've got. And we do have some other people coming in a little bit later on throughout the middle of the show. But here with us today we have...
my name is Baxlorn. I talk crap about movies and anime when I'm not talking crap about that. Sometimes I'm talking at the camera naked, and when I'm not doing that, I'm updating the Movie Club Strikes Back page with movies, putting them in the playlist, making it easier for you guys to stalk those videos. Next.
I'm Chris, and you can find me on YouTube at Easy Chair Reviews. Again, mainly doing reviews for Movie Club Strikes Back, but a couple other things as well. And you can also find me on Twitter occasionally. Next.
I'm Jared. They follow me at Handsome Quacker on Twitter and YouTube. Kind of off Twitch right now, but always Twitter is the best way to get a hold of me. I always talk about movies and stuff on YouTube, even though I say I do vlogs. I don't really do them. We're here today to do a nice little thing about Robin Williams, so I just can't stop watching. So, next.
I am Liam, or Servatorix everywhere on the internet. I am from the country that brought you Braveheart, Brave, and Trainspotting. That's it. I like to do movie reviews on YouTube and occasionally talk about things when I'm naked in front of the camera, and then just do other things while I'm naked when I'm off camera too, which is a lot of fun. So yeah, here I am.
There's a lot of naked talk already on this hangout, and we've only been going for about, I think, a minute and a half, so that's a bit of a new record for us. And I'm Kiwi. I'm hosting the show tonight. I did have an actual name once upon a time, but it's been lost to the ages, and I don't know if anyone remembers it, because I almost sure as shit don't. But, you know, down in the description-y thingies, you can find my Twitter account and my things. But more importantly, you can find the details for Movie Club Strikes Back, which is our group channel where every week we pick a new movie, we all watch it, we all review it and post up our reviews and have discussions about things to do with movies. Like we've said, today is all about Robin Williams. So the news came out earlier on this week, which was pretty heartbreaking, I think, for everyone, when we heard that Robin Williams passed away. And I know that I think pretty much everyone's Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds probably looked like mine, and it was just non-stop tribute to Robin Williams. Because I would say of all the sort of celebrity deaths that have happened, this is the one that I actually cried, like really, really hard out cried when I heard the news, because it wasn't until he was gone that you realize just how much of an impact he's had on a lot of people in their childhoods and their adulthoods, and just an amazing actor. But I thought maybe we could just sort of start with talking about sort of maybe if we've got some of our like earliest memories of Robin Williams movies.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, my first memory of Robin Williams was in the movie Jack.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, when he played that 10-year-old boy that looked like Robin Williams.
That movie I just found out was directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Really?
No way.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I was watching a thing on Robin Williams, and they said that he directed Jack. I'm like, that is like one of the most underrated Robin Williams films. I need to rewatch it again because it was so good. It's such a good movie.
Had Bill Cosby in it.
Yeah, Jennifer Lopez too. God.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm actually old enough to remember Mork and Mindy episodes that I do remember. That was, growing up, I remember really enjoying it. I don't know how I'd feel about it right now if I were to watch them again, because I haven't really gone back, but I just remember that being a big part of my childhood and this being really interesting with the Nanu and whenever he talks to the alien at the end. It's all pretty entertaining.
Mark was a character on Happy Days as well.
Yeah, that's where he started, right?
Yeah, it was so weird. But like
Mindy from that.
And he made it so iconic as well. I mean, that's what I loved about Robin Williams, is that even though a lot of his characters had a lot of the same elements, quite a few of the time, the fact that it was these sort of slightly over the top and crazy characters, they're all still so iconic in a way.
I think it was just him. I'm sure it could have been written and somebody else could have took it, but nobody could have brought it like he did. Yeah, he had that over the top thing, but he sometimes could be very serious. And I think I'm just gonna say Good Will Hunting. That's the first movie I watched right away when he passed away. That movie has the perfect amount of his comedy. It has him doing his little thing, especially when he's talking about the baseball scene and running around the bases and stuff. That was him being himself, like all active and stuff. And he had a lot of improvised lines in there too, like his wife farting scene. Oh my god, it's one of the best scenes. You can see the camera shaking because the cameraman's laughing at that improv line. But then he can go very, very serious about like how much he loved his wife, and those stories just like bring it in there. And he just, I don't know, he had a way to like, it touched you, and it's just something that we lost something big. I was talking to my friend about how we lost Robin Williams. He's like, yeah, but Philip Seymour Hoffman. I'm like, I know, but Robin Williams touched everybody. He was around for 40 years. I mean, and it's just he's just a different thing for me. I was with you, Kiwi. I could feel tears every time I watch something. Still today, I feel a little bit tears coming every time.
Yeah, it's just so heartbreaking because, I mean, yes, he was 63, but he still had so many years left ahead of him that could have been, yay, my tea arrived, and could have been making just so many more movies. And it's the first time in my life that I've actually thought, man, I wish I had a kid of my own so that I could have been sharing that love that I had of Robin Williams movies with him, because they were just such cross-generational films. Like, I remember watching Robin Williams movies with my grandfather, and we were just both in absolute hysterics all throughout the whole of it. And he had that type of comedy and humor, more when it was on film, less so much on his stand-up. But it was so accessible to everyone and anyone that sort of watched it. It was just incredible. But before we move on, Janelle has joined us, who I haven't seen in ages. So hi, Janelle.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Just give us a quick intro and a hi about yourself. And yeah, today we're all about Mr. Robin Williams.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Janelle. You can follow me on youtube.com/JanelleSmile. And then you can also use Janelle Smile for the Twitters, or for the Tumblrs, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Yay. So no, Robin Williams. Oh, sorry, I'm spacing already. I was just thinking about just all little tributes that I've seen popping up on YouTube of late and on Twitter, and just you watch them, and it's right. You can't sort of watch them without getting that sort of choke in the back of your throat. It's why I don't think I'm ready to watch What Dreams May Come again. And I really, really want to watch Dead Poets Society again, because that movie, that was probably my favorite Robin Williams movie. I mean, watching Jimmy Fallon do his like tribute where he stood up on his desk and did the "Oh Captain, My Captain." Oh man!
I just watched that. That was sad. He was even holding back tears.
Yeah.
That was like one of the first movies I watched in high school. That our English teacher, who was the cool guy, he was like our Robin Williams in Dead Poets, showed us that movie, and I was every time they were showing clips, it made me flash back to high school, and it just made me really sad. So it was one of those times I was like, wow, Robin, I felt like he knew everything, even though it was a character. I was like, wow, that I can do everything now with that.
See, that's the thing with Robin Williams. He with everyone's reaction, he had the ability, and I said this on Facebook, and I won't reiterate the entire thing because that was a fucking speech I made on Facebook. But that's the thing. Robin Williams had this uncanny ability to unite everyone globally, whether it was through laughter during his entire life, with everything he could do. He had such a huge variety of everything he could do during his life. Like, he could do drama, he can make you cry with seriousness with sadness or cry with laughter. He could do either of those things and so much more. And now he's united us all in sadness at his passing. But like I said on Facebook, it's better to remember the times that he united us in laughter, I think. You know?
Of course.
Sorry for that speech.
Yeah.
It's really hard not to get emotional when you think about it, and it's like, you know, I was upset when Philip Seymour Hoffman died, and I mean, he was a huge loss to the acting community. Same with Heath Ledger, but there's something about Robin Williams that he had a quality that you just don't see, and it's, wow. But I think, okay, for a moment, let's maybe step away from sort of like Robin Williams as a person, and let's sort of do a little bit more examining on Robin Williams the movies. And I want to start with his more kind of creepy, dramatic type roles. If anyone saw like either, I think it was Insomnia or oh god, the name was it 1 Hour Photo?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 1 Hour Photo.
So yes, so I think he definitely had a lot less of those types of roles than he did with his comedic ones. But holy crap, did he do creepy well?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw 1 Hour Photo at the wrong time of my life. I was young, and I was like, "Oh, look, it's Robin Williams. What? He's telling us to." It was like one of those last scenes. I don't even remember seeing it. I blocked it out of my mind. I haven't even seen it yet. I was like 10, and I was like, "Oh, it's Robin Williams. Look at this." And it was the worst. I felt all rebellious because it was like, "Oh, rated R. That sounds like it's gonna be raunchy and cool."
Instead it's creepy and.
Well, the question that I want to ask though is, was it just that he was such a good actor that it made those movies very creepy, or was it because we were so used to knowing him as crazy, funny, zany Robin Williams that seeing him do something other than that was what was the big shock to us that made it creepier?
Yeah, I definitely think anytime an actor goes out of their normal shtick into something completely different, there's kind of, I think, that shell shock feeling, like, oh my gosh, he's actually being serious and dramatic. And in the case of, like Janelle was saying, 1 Hour Photo, I mean, that was such a dramatic change of character for him, where he's this really creepy and disturbed guy, and anytime someone, I think, does that, like whether it's Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, they go into these serious roles, it's like, holy crap, they can do something other than ass clownery.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Chris, especially have something?
Sorry?
No, I was going to say, yeah, I think that's part of it. I mean, there's definitely the aspect of you're not expecting Robin Williams to be creepy, so you see that. But on the other hand, I think it kind of diminishes his ability to really just do that well. I mean, he's a very intelligent man, very good actor. And I think it's, very much a credit to his acting ability that he can take these roles and just really creep you out. There's one, it wasn't one of his bigger ones, but it was called The Final Cut. And it was this kind of creepy, strange movie where he played this guy who could, after somebody had died, he could go through their life and then, like, cut a movie together from their perspective as like a final tribute to him. And it was kind of this strange movie, but he had a really interesting role, but he did it really well.
No, yeah, and I think it also just makes his resume, like his education, known. I mean, he was in Juilliard for a while. He was able to educate himself in acting, which made it exciting to see when he was doing those different roles. And it fascinates me just because when I was younger, watching 1 Hour Photo, it freaked me out. But now as I'm older, I understand, you know what? He was able to be the genie and then be 1 Hour Photo. He was able to do Final Cut, but you also saw him do Popeye. Like, he was able to switch that way, and it made it really showed his education. That's what made me excited when it comes to, like, theater and everything. His education was there.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry. Yes, for everyone that doesn't normally watch these, I'm normally in here anyway. I apologise. I was here right at the start, but I kind of dicked out to help a friend who's a pain, who's shown up in a few of my videos. He was right at the end of one of my movie reviews, laughing at the Home Alone video, but he's a dick. So yeah. Anyway, I'm Alan. I'm Mr. Hairy Brett. When I'm not fighting fires because my best mate's being an absolute penis, I make movie reviews. Anyway, Robin Williams, not the singer, the actor.
just two slightly different characters. Yeah,
Slightly. You should see Twitter get them wrong. That was fucking hilarious. Anyway, I believe that the later, more serious films like Bicentennial Man, and of course 1 Hour Photo, and those kind of creepier or slightly more heartfelt, non-zany shows that he's growing up. His earlier stuff, everything was written around his, I don't want to say it, but pretty much narcotic use and insane mind. If you amplify insanity by drugs, you get Robin Williams. Almost. Right? Except for now he's loving angels instead. But as he grows up, you see him mature. I went back to see Good Will Hunting for the very first time, and I think that's the first role where he admits that he's an actor rather than a comedian, and then he won an award for the privilege. So yeah, I'm an adult watching his adult movies, but when I grew up with him being stupid. So me having now seen Good Will Hunting actually rounds him off for me. Made me miss him even more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I almost kind of disagree with that because one of his first roles, not one of his first roles, but one of his early roles in Good Morning Vietnam was a very dramatic role. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of his comedy to it, but that was not a comedic role. That was a very dramatic role. And it was probably one of the first roles he had where people saw that. They saw his dramatic capabilities. And that was many, many years ago. So I think he always had that ability to play, and maybe it took a little while for him to be able to kind of force those roles or accept more of those roles. I think it was always there.
Yeah, actually, right. Because I think, because I fall victim to that whole, don't actually remember that I'm as old as I think I am, and so I keep thinking, yeah, Good Will Hunting, that was only like a couple of years ago, wasn't it? No, I was just checking, and it was like back in like 90, I want to say 95, no, 90.
No,
7, right?
Oh no, wait, I'm still going. It was 97, which was actually quite a while ago.
Kind of the year they hatch Ben Affleck and Matt Damon from their childlike cocoons and thrust them into the world of films, which was weird.
He did that too. He's the reason that movie got made, because he took such a pay cut to play that role. He said he read it and he said he loved it so much that he took a pay cut, no problem, because he wanted to be that character so much. And in essence, put Ben Affleck and Matt Damon on the map because of it. Got him an Oscar for sure.
He did mention those within the acceptance speech, in which it was basically like, yeah, this is brilliant. I'll be speechless for all of 3 seconds. I'll then make a joke that, you know, these teenagers are really, 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 really fucking young, and then just continue to be Robin Williams. But that was played on loop during the news the next day, because we in the UK, we went to bed with him alive, and then we woke up with him dying, because he was officially announced on the press around about 11:30, 12 midnight.
I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy, and my sister texted me Robin Williams died. So that pretty much ruined that movie for me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, 30 minutes in, I'm just like, I don't even care right now. I'm so pissed.
Oh, that sucks. I was at work, and sort of working in like digital advertising, like every single page that I had to go to do my job, it was just like Robin Williams, and I'm just like, I can't take it. So it was pretty emotional, but yeah.
Yeah.
Liam, you had something that you wanted to say?
Well, it was kind of like, sorry, the conversation's moved on a little bit from what I wanted to say, but
No, bring it back.
But Alan, you said about like we were all kind of you were kind of immature when you first saw him, and then you saw his more mature roles and all that. Well, I remember like I used to for a while. Robin Williams was just guy from Jumanji, Genie, Flubber, Jack, and then the thing that really changed him for me wasn't seeing other films. I saw that he did stand up as well. So like, okay, so that's kind of similar humor to Disney and Flubber and stuff, and then like couldn't be further from it. You know, so that's another testament to the diversity that man was capable of.
Well,
That's exactly what happened to me. I knew Genie, I knew Flubber, I knew all those kid-style movies, you know, Hook and everything.
Right.
And then I watched the 2001 HBO stand-up. I had no idea he could be this dirty. I had no clue, and I loved it though. I watched that thing repeatedly. It was so good. So yeah, same thing for me. I knew him from the comedy '90s base, and then I seen the stand-up, and that got me searching back, and that's when I started watching Dead Poet Society, The Awakening, like his more serious, further roles, like Good Morning Good Morning Vietnam. Yeah. So I've jumped from funny to a stand-up, then to a serious. So for me, I've seen it all, and I didn't know he had that side of him. I didn't know he had that ability to be so raunchy and yet so serious in some movies too.
That's the
He's a
thing
lot
as well.
like Bob Saget. Bob Saget was like that. Like everybody knew Bob Saget is, hey, it's Danny Tanner from Full House, and then you see his stand-up, and you're like, Jesus Christ, he's got like a serious potty mouth on him.
Yeah.
And Robin Williams' stand-up was it was so intelligent, and he was so quick and so smart, but so dirty. But I think the thing I found really interesting is when I was watching his stand-up, and when he did a piece about alcoholics and, referred to himself as an alcoholic. And he never hid that fact about him. And it was one thing that I think was so brave about him is that he openly admitted that he was an alcoholic, that he had issues with depression, that he was constantly booking himself into rehab to keep working and fighting on it. And I think that's what makes, this even more just heartbreaking is that he was fighting it so hard, but yet still could take those dark aspects of himself and still turn it into something that was entertaining and informative for everyone. He just was an incredible talent, just so incredible. But I'm going to throw it back to you, Dom.
Alan was before me.
I get to pick the order, and I haven't heard from you in a while.
Okay, sure. Anyway, I was going to say, the stand-up comedy definitely allows, I think, actors in general to be more than the characters that they pick in the movies, since that's 100% their writing, 100%. And I think a lot of the times, even like Bob Saget, they get pigeonholed and say that like the the Full House stick that they wanted to just do something that's completely shell-shocking or just completely out of their normal character. Hence you get the potty mouth Bob Saget, potty mouth Robin Williams, because that's just all freeform, and it's just really nice to see them actually be open to other stuff other than the shticks that they normally do.
Yeah. Chris, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, jumping back to his stand-up, I remember seeing a few years ago, it was one of his routines he had done, one of his stand-up routines he had done, late 70s, early 80s. He's still very much in his Mork and Mindy fame, and it was really hilarious, but there was, because you could see his intelligence, but like in the last 5 minutes, he went to this place, and it was like surreal. I mean, he was talking to the audience, and you look at it, and he was probably coked out of his mind at that point, because that was who he was at the time frame. Yeah. But it was just a a really strange experience to see him kind of go from this Mork and Mindy kind of very off-the-wall humor, and then he did this kind of weird Shakespearean bit that was, I don't remember it, but I remember it being funny as hell. And then again, he went to this kind of weird philosophical place, and it was just bizarre to watch. But I think it encapsulated, all those aspects of his personality.
Yeah, it was just not even in his stand-up comedies, but even just watching him in TV interviews, like when he was on The Tonight Show and did all the late-night talk shows, or just even interviews on the red carpet. He was so quick, and watching some of the interviews that have been happening of late, in the way that people that have interviewed him have actually spoken about the fact that literally if you knew that you were interviewing Robin Williams, you basically just held onto your ass and went along for the ride because you never knew what you were going to get. And it was just incredible. And he was such a sweet, kind-hearted person. Like, all of New Zealand is devastated because he had like a big love for New Zealand, and we massively embrace anyone that loves our teeny tiny little country. But, was a big fan of rugby, and did Bicentennial Man with Sam Neill, so he came down here to New Zealand quite a bit to hang out with their family. And after the Christchurch earthquake happened, when he was being interviewed by people and he found out they were from New Zealand, one of the first things that he was asking was, well, how's the rebuild going down in Christchurch? And it was to see someone who you're expecting to make, like, funny jokes and just be like making funny noises and blah, 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 to just have that level of caring and compassion, it's just, God, mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
See, with Robin Williams, I always found he's a well-rounded individual. He's an actor and a comedian, and anyone that has the two skills together really shows the two sides of the human brain and the human genome in general. The issue with him is that he was such a great actor, like most comedians, that he had a talent for hiding what's known as the tears of the clown. The concept that he makes you laugh to try and make himself feel better, even though he's a little bit sad inside. And in this case, it was his depression. But one interview that he did, I'm not sure if it's an interview or a clip from a film, but it was played on the news, and it's very poignant, in which he states that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's something that Philip DeFranco touched on as well, and I think that summarizes it perfectly. But it also is slightly disrespectful in Robin's case, and a few other cases, which is that immediately assumes that someone's stupid to think of the idea, and they don't consider the amount of soul-searching that has gone into the very painful decision that the world is better off without them. And in this case, for whatever reason, Robin felt that he couldn't give anymore. And there was also a medical diagnosis that he had been confirmed with the start of Alzheimer's.
Wasn't it Parkinson's?
Parkinson's.
Sorry, I stand corrected. But then he's been very good friends with what's his face? Sorry, Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
And that although Fox is coming out the other end, he still has the issue, and he has expressed on multiple occasions. Robin had expressed on multiple occasions his concern for Michael that it destroyed the human being that once started, and the only thing that was remaining Michael was his fight not to be the disease.
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't something that pushed him in that direction. And unfortunately, I have a very personal connection to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's because my father was diagnosed with it around about a month or so before he died. Although not in the same circumstances, I can understand the fear that it could strike in someone. So all we can hope is that, although it's a permanent end to a temporary issue, that he's remembered for the genius he is, rather than the abuse that people have been firing at Zelda and
Oh,
other
don't get me started on
sci-fi
that. That
beginning.
makes me so furious. Just absolutely fucking disgusted. And I mean, you know, depression is a disease. It is a serious, horrible, debilitating disease. And it's the one thing that has kind of come out of this is that at least a lot more people are talking about, like, if the world's funniest man can be taken down and made to feel this bad because of this disease, yet we've only seen him and known him as this amazing funny person, it shows just how aggressive and just debilitating depression actually is. And it has had a lot more people talking about it. But as for what people have been doing to Zelda Williams, I think we should skip right over that, because otherwise there will be words coming out of my mouth that ain't nobody needs to be hearing.
Can I just say that when I said he united the world, those people don't count as being part of the world, okay?
God, no. God, no. But back to his movies. So I think, I mean, we've all got those stories about how movies touched us in specific ways, and I think it'd be really good if we could just sort of talk about what the movie was that really made you sort of go, holy fuck, Robin Williams is the man. Just jump in. Chanel, do you want to start us off on that one?
Yes. Aladdin. I know that sounds so like oh yeah, that's my favorite movie. When my mom found out, because it didn't hit me until my mom was like, Janelle, Robin Williams died, and I was like, oh my god, yeah. Because all she had were memories of me watching Aladdin when I was little. That would get me to sleep. But I would watch it all the way until I knew the genie was free and I fell asleep. And then sometimes I'd just fall asleep maybe halftime, but I would wake up and turn it on so when I got ready I can finish watching it before I went to school. So it comes to one of those, I think, moments in my life when I was little. I was quirky and just obnoxious, but watching Aladdin and listening to Robin Williams' voice kind of tamed me and shaped me into something that was funny instead of annoying when I was little. So it really touches me that I know that Disney's doing like showing Aladdin all weekend, but that was one of the things that me and my mom talked about when she found out the news. She was just, wow, we watched it when you were little. That was one of the things that you always wanted to watch, and it sucks to see that that's like a little part of a memory that unfortunately is gone. Like it's a connection. It's like one of those things that certain connections to your life are slowly going to, close doors or hide for a little bit, which is, it sounds all depressing, but it really is sad, and that really did shape me how I wanted to get into theater and wanted to be funny and make people laugh and be joyful. So yeah, that's my Aladdin favorite movie.
I mean, I definitely think, definitely after Aladdin, I wanted more voice acting from Robin Williams. I mean, I think he would have been a great. He's obviously a great actor, and I think he would have been an even better voice actor if he got into more animated stuff after that.
It never went, like, because I know even in college there's a lot of people that enjoy the Disney princesses and like, what's your favorite movie? My favorite movie was always between Aladdin and Lion King, but it never was because of Jasmine. It was always because of Genie and like Gilbert Gottfried, Iago, and it was always because of the funny people that were in that, and Robin Williams was like the tier of cake. So it was interesting. Never. Yeah.
That's the thing about these connections and all that. It's you will always have what really makes me at least happy about anything is the fact that he was able to bring these things to life, to actually give us these things, these connections, like in your case the Aladdin movie. Like he will have these parts. They will never go. He may not be able to make any more of these things for us, but those things will always be here. You know, and that makes me happy.
What about your pick though for movie, Liam? Like the one that really made your Robin Williams iconic movie.
Good Will Hunting by far.
What was it about it?
One of the first movies that ever made me cry, damn it.
Oh,
It's one of the only movies that made me cry.
Didn't put on my hair for this reason.
Not your fault, it's not your fault, it's not your fault. That bit just tore me up, you know? But yeah, that was definitely it. It's, like I said, I knew him as the genie, I knew him as the guy from Flubber, Mork and Mindy, all these things. And then I see this man bring his comedic styles and his comedy into such a dramatic, important, impactful role. And it had a perfect mix of both his comedic side and his intelligence and his seriousness and his ability, his true acting power, I felt. So, yeah.
Pretty incredible. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go back to Good Morning Vietnam, just because that was such a wide-ranging performance. You look at, I mean, you learn later that when he was doing the radio broadcast for that, you know, it's just him riffing. You know, they just put the camera on him and he goes and he does his improv thing, and that's all genuine Robin Williams. But it's actually really interesting when you hear that, because you watch it again and you see that it still fits. I mean, you can see that, you know, somebody making those jokes during Vietnam, they fit. But then on the other side of that movie, it's actually a very dramatic, very serious, touches some very poignant issues, and he handles all of it. So you see his entire range just in that one film. And again, it is one of his earlier ones. But, you know, again, between the comedy and between the drama, you know, and one is just a good movie. So that was kind of the first one that really kind of stuck in my consciousness, that, you know, he's not just a comedian, but he's got the full range.
It's an amazing movie, and just that Good Morning Vietnam is so iconic. I've heard it so much over the last week, and it still makes me smile every time. Oh, you need to watch it. You really need to watch it.
I need to see that and Patch Adams. Those are the two.
And Patch Adams.
Oh God, Patch Adams.
Sorry for stealing anyone else's answer. Just there,
well, Jared, if Liam hasn't stolen your answer, what movie?
He did. He took Good Will Hunting.
What?
But he already did Good Will Hunting, so I'll tell you about the first movie, which I think I've mentioned before in my Hook review. I don't know. I've cut Hook so many times when I was reviewing it, but that was the movie. God, I don't even know how old I was. Probably 8 at most. I remember walking in Target with my parents, and I remember seeing like the stand with all the movies on it when they were all VHS, you know. And I walked over to it, and I saw. I'm like, okay, Peter Pan, cool. So I grabbed it, went home and watched it, and that gave me new appreciation for Robin Williams at that point, because physically seeing him, I mean, I knew the voice and everything, but he was so great in Hook. I mean, he goes from the very beginning where he's an adult. He's a lame, square adult. I mean, we don't like him. He kind of shitty to his kids and kind of like puts them on the back burner for his job, and we all see this. We see that he has to go back to Neverland, and he becomes the kid that we know and love. And to me, he became the Robin Williams that we know and love. He became zany, he became quirky, but it was just so good. And everything he did in that movie, it's not an underrated movie because everybody knows it, but the power that he brings to that character, he'll always be Peter Pan to me. When I think, I've said this in my review, when I think of Peter Pan, I think of Peter Pan Hook. I think Robin Williams as Peter Pan, and that's how I always have seen the Peter Pan. I don't even really like the old Disney one because of Hook, because I love that film so much. But I'll just kind of jump on yours too, Liam, with Good Will Hunting. That was me seeing him in a serious light and seeing him like really become an all-around actor for me. And he's more serious in that role, but he still gets to play a little bit of his jokes and stuff and do a little bit of his stand-up, it feels like. So between those two, I would say are my favorites.
Yeah. Oh God, Hook. Like the more we talk about them, the more I'm like, I'd already planned on having like a Robin Williams movie marathon this weekend, and we got to the point where we realized, so we're gonna need to be watching for about 50 hours straight to try and get through all the movies that we want to watch, because he just had so many just amazing roles and amazing films. I think for me, the movie that really made me just look at him as this incredibly wonderful, inspirational person was Dead Poets Society. And I saw it when I was really young. I think I was about 11 when I saw Dead Poets Society, and it just threw me into a world of, I was absolutely obsessed with Shakespeare. It was not long after that I ended up doing A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I referred back to the movie so many times to get inspiration for how I was going to play my characters from that. And just, you know, Oh Captain, My Captain, Walt Whitman became just this great inspirational like poet because of the power and emotion that, you know, Robin Williams was able to portray when he was playing John Keating in that movie, and just mind-blowing. He was amazing. But again, it was also for me with his role as Genie in Aladdin, and it made me want to do voiceover acting so much, just because of the way this one person could have all these different voices and emotions and project all these different characters, and he did it so well that I looked at that for so long and said, that's what I want to do. I want to be the female Robin Williams. Realised I was nowhere near funny enough to do it, but the dream is still there. One day, in the back of my mind, I definitely have a face for voiceover more than anything else. So, yeah, but he just don't, he was always kind of, he just reminded me of everyone's favourite uncle. He's like that person, he's not in your life every single day, but you know him, you love him, he's family, he comes along, he makes you laugh, he pulls a quarter out of your ear and does a look and, hey, what's up? And then off he goes again. And when the news came that Robin Williams died, it literally felt like my favourite uncle had passed away. That was that type of connection, and we all got that from his movies. It was like, oh, But enough about me waffling. Ellen, what about you? I mean, what movie for you is like the Robin Williams movie?
See, it's kind of as some of you may know, I have this bad habit of typecasting people instantly. If you do one really good role, I can't forget you doing that role. But with Robin Williams, he is doing that one role himself in all of the films. The first film I ever saw him in was something that I've mentioned a few times. It's Fern Gully.
Batty.
He's the voice of the bat.
Yeah, Batty.
Right? In which basically he's mental and he just flaps around being Robin Williams, which is no different than, you know, roll forward a few years and he's Genie, in which they do the voice recording and then they animate, in which they said that they couldn't nominate for best screenplay because he didn't work on a script. They just went, this is the vague direction, right? In which he's brilliant at doing. And as a kid, the more you watch him, the more you love him. But it was also one of the things that he got semi-mocked at, ironically, in Family Guy. No word of a lie. That night, possibly around about the time that it would have been announced on the news, there was the Robin Williams episodes of Family Guy on BBC Three. I think that was a random coincidence because that started at 11 o'clock and the news wouldn't have broken here until about 11:30, 12. But I got to see Peter Griffin turn everyone into Robin Williams and stand on a roof and tell all of them in their own special way that it's time for Robin Williams to go home now. I think that's perfect. And although there's not one specific film that I would rank over any other, the world's going to be a sadder life without him. But the one thing is we get the Heath Ledger moment with him, which is there are films that he's recorded that are due to come out. There's The Night at the Museum 3, although I've not seen any others.
The trailer just dropped.
that will be coming out for Christmas this year, and he has finished the recording on that, so he will give us a Christmas goodbye.
There's also there's another voice acting as well.
There'll be no Robin Williams.
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, though, we can say, look, there'll be no more Robin Williams, but on the other hand, there'll always be Robin Williams. Like, those movies, they're never going to go away. They're always there. They're an amazing legacy and testament to him and his career and everything he gave us, and we'll always have that. We'll always be able to go back to it, which is really nice. I mean, once sort of like that pain goes away, it's like it's always there for you, and which is pretty cool. Also, I forgot to mention, we've obviously got people that are watching us right now, so it's not just us. And we have had a few people commenting as well, so don't forget, if you want to give us any of your feedback on like what your favourite Robin Williams movies and moments were, please comment below in the YouTube comments. I actually forgot to turn them on for Google+, I'm sorry. But just to Janet, who's out there in the audience right now, she actually said that Robin Williams managed to make each film a personal experience. They all had the quintessential Robin Williams moments that touched the heart. And I think that's definitely what we've sort of been discovering. The more you go back and look at, all the tributes that are coming out and watch just all these different movies, you really, it's regardless of who he's playing, even when he was playing those horrible, creepy characters in 1 Hour Photo and Insomnia, there was still that Robin Williams-ness to those roles that I don't think you could ever escape. So it was pretty brilliant. But Baxorn, what about you? We haven't had much of your on your favorite Robin Williams movies.
Two movies. One you guys already covered, of course, Aladdin. I mean, at the same time, I will admit I was one of those people that kind of knocked on Robin Williams because his presence was so demanding that it overtook the movie. And even though it was about Aladdin and Jasmine, he did such a commanding job that it seemed to shift more toward being the genie than it was supposed to be about the main characters. But I mean, it was still a fantastic movie. I still loved it. I loved his comedy. With that said, the other movie that makes my inner geek happy is Jumanji, with the whole board game aspects and going into the game and having Robin Williams guide you around and going through that stuff. I think Jumanji just is one of those movies that was really good in terms of the whole, like I said, the whole going into a game and in terms of the fantasy concepts and whatnot.
Does anybody else remember when, after the Jumanji movie came out, they actually produced Jumanji the board game?
Yeah.
And was anyone else really pissed off? Because I was quite young when I got it, and the fact that I didn't get sucked into a board game to play, I was pissed off.
I was really content with that, because I'd scared. I couldn't watch Jumanji for like years after I saw the little boy get sucked in. I couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle that. I finally, as an adult, I was like, oh, let's watch Jumanji.
See,
Jumanji, alright, we clapped it out. Let's watch.
See, I was annoyed because namesake, right? The main character is called Alan. Right, so I was a bit annoyed, right? Don't get me wrong, I've got the hairiness down, right? Granted, there's no giant. Well, there is, but there's no rug, right? I'm kind of underlay to Robin Williams' monkey, but you know, close enough.
For hearing this.
Oh, sorry, wait, that was me. I got momentarily distracted for a second. There was one point that I really wanted to touch on, and I think we kind of have a little bit here tonight already, but Robin Williams was such a commanding person on screen. But I know that there's been a few movies where he played sort of like supporting characters or cameo roles, but I found that, in like what you guys were talking about with the fact that Genie isn't supposed to be the main character in Aladdin, yet I actually had a moment where I was thinking, the Genie movie, you know, the one with the dude on the carpet, because to me it was all about the Genie. He had that quality where no matter how small a role he was, he stood out and he really commanded the presence and stuff. Could he actually even play a supporting character?
I think that's a gift and a curse of Robin Williams, even as supporting characters, like you were saying. I mean, he puts. I think it's just what he puts into it. I think sometimes overshadows other actors in the movie. Sometimes, whether it's his zaniness or whatnot. I mean, he just has that over-the-top personality that a lot of people can't really compete with necessarily. And
definitely, Chris, what about you? What are your thoughts on it?
There is, I don't know how many of you have seen it, but when Kenneth Branagh did his cinematic version of Hamlet, Robin Williams was actually in that. He played Osric. And of course, he didn't get to steal the scene in that one because Osric's a very small role. But I think it's interesting to note that if Kenneth Branagh puts you in one of his Shakespeare productions, that's high praise. I mean, that's obviously Kenneth Branagh doesn't joke around when it comes to that. The fact that he put Robin Williams in one of his, productions, I think speaks very highly, again, just of Robin Williams' reign.
Yeah.
I think
the guy had some mad skills. So we talked a lot about Robin Williams the person, Robin Williams the comedic actor, the dramatic actor, the stand-up comedian, because we're all, big fans of Robin Williams, we know and love his movies, but there are some people out there that have never seen Robin Williams. So if you were to pick one movie to recommend to a person to watch, what movie would you be recommending to them and why? Is like an introduction to, this is Robin Williams, this is what you're going to get. Who's going to take this? I don't know, there's so many to choose from.
I would say Mrs. Doubtfire as a first one, because that deals not only with the fact that he's a man dressed up as a woman, but some very serious issues as well that he handles very, very well. Not just in a comedic way, but in a way you can see a father trying. He just has unconditional love for his kids. How that character would handle it, and who can forget? Like he's got the cookie dance scenes and all that. He's got his impressions, but he's also got the Mrs. Doubtfire's TV show moment. When she would say goodbye, Poppet. Those serious, sweet moments as well.
Yeah.
So I would say that's a good introduction to him.
Very valid.
Thank you.
Come on, everyone else. Baxon, what about you?
Sure. So I would say definitely watch his early stuff, Mork and Mindy. You can find out how he was in the early days as compared to how he is now. I think that Mork and Mindy, like I said, was a big part of my childhood, and that's how I'll remember him. Popeye, stuff like that is basically what I know him as, those early on movies.
I almost completely forgot about Popeye. Oh my god, that movie was so cheesy but so good. I love the cheese. Oh, it's crack up. It's really good. He is like the embodiment of a cartoon character. He really is. Alan, what about you?
See, I've not seen it in years, and I won't lie, my Netflix account is kind of open there. Look at the very meagre selections that the UK has. I haven't seen Toys in ages, and I don't think we've touched upon that. And Hook. So if you was kind of to take Toys with his childlike love of everything, which is kind of Willy Wonka, but for Robin Williams mixed with Hook, I know that's two. I know that's technically cheating on the question. I think that encapsulates him perfectly. But then, yeah, one film I watched recently. If you want madcap, slightly weird, almost clearly showing the inside of Robin Williams' brain, have a look at The Fisher King. It's not wonderful. It may not be as big as Jumanji or Good Will Hunting because of where it was placed within the scale, but you get to see Robin Williams explain his madness through him being hairy and at one point naked, laying in a park whilst being a homeless bum. It's weird. It's not literally naked. You don't get to see hair, wiener. right? Because we all know that he's got enough pubic hair to kind of generate a mold. But no, that shows how insane it was within it.
I also think you may have stolen a few people's answers there, Ellen. But Janelle, what about you? What movie would you recommend as this is the Robin Williams movie that first time I should watch?
Well, when you said that question, it made me feel my brother. He is in that age of teenage, whatever, and doesn't know anything or does know a lot of things, but whatever I say isn't cool, or oh, I don't know what that is. That's not whatever. When I told him about Robin Williams, he was like, wait, you're gonna be mad at me, and I was like, what am I doing as a sister? My job has been ruined. So I think since he's in the age of going into high school, I would show him Dead Poet Society just because I know he's old enough to try and get, be determined in that educational wise or whatever, but also see the serious yet zany part, even though if it's a very small contained zany part of Robin Williams, but it shows his fun side and his his serious side. And I would show that because it'd just be hard. I couldn't show my brother Aladdin because he wasn't a person of the 90s and wouldn't get half of it.
Yeah.
I don't think I could show him a 1 hour photo or like Hook or at least 1 hour photo because that'd be disturbing. So I have to find that middle ground, which is I think Dead Poet Society.
No, oh God, I love that movie. Jared, what one? Although I'm pretty sure I know what one you're going to say.
I'm going to pick Death to Smoochie to throw you off. No, I do like Death to Smoochie. That's just another one of his crazy roles, though. But I would pick Hook, honestly. It just depends on their age, I guess, really. For me, yeah, Hook encapsulated Robin Williams for me. Nowadays, I find myself watching Good Will Hunting. That's the first movie I watched immediately after I heard this because I love that movie and I thought he was great in it. But we've already talked about those two. So I actually was talking to a kid. I was playing a game the other day online, and he barely knew Robin Williams. I'm like, what? I pretty much was yelling at him, telling him, how do you not know Robin Williams, right? And he's like, well, I know. I've seen Jumanji and Aladdin. I'm like, okay, well, that's a start. That's a good base. And I just told him, here, watch this. And I sent him the YouTube link for his comedy. Robin Williams live on Broadway. I was like, just watch this. When I watched this, it blew me away. That was like stand-up in a nutshell for me. I had no idea he could be that dirty. I had no idea he had that many characters reserved. Just live on Broadway really brings out the best in him, I think. I think that was in 2002, so I don't know. It's still sad. I really want to go back and rewatch that. That's probably going to be my third Robin Williams thing I've watched this week, if not fourth. So, but anyways, moving on.
Good picks. Chris, what about you? What movie would you tell a person who knew nothing about Robin Williams to watch that would sort of sum him up?
Yeah, and again, you gotta. I mean, I agree a lot with. I think Hook would probably be, the number one pick. Again, because who better to play, the guy who never grew up than, a guy who never grew up. Mm-hmm. But there is one. I think if I had to choose, kind of a supplement to that, there is this movie that came out many, many years ago called The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. I don't know if anybody's seen that one. But he had a bit role in that. He played the King of the Moon. And it's straight Robin Williams. It's very much, his kind of comedic role and his timing and his improv skills. And the funny thing about that is, he didn't take a credit for it. They actually list his role as rated 2-toe, which it's a joke in the film, if you've seen it. But, it's a great film. And even though he plays this little part, it's one of the more memorable scenes in there. So, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen as a supplement.
Oh, very, very good. I think for me, I definitely agree with the Hook thing and I don't think it matters how old you are. Like, if you're a young kid watching Hook, it's just fun and zany and, oh my God, people can fly and imagination and and it's that brilliance of it. If you're someone who's a lot older, it also shows like the importance of just because you grow old doesn't mean you necessarily have to grow up, and about the importance of retaining some of that childlike wonder that you had growing up, and how sort of just dull life can become if you let it. So I think it doesn't really matter how old you are. Hook is always going to be a really good movie for a first-timer to watch. I wanted to say Dead Poets Society, but I actually think probably the movie for me that really encapsulated Robin Williams was Patch Adams. That movie has so much heart, but so much humor. It hits all these really important subjects and topics, and just, oh God, it gets you into hot spot, and you get all like gooey and mushy inside, and happy tears and sad tears and the whole lot of it. And don't poke your tongue out at me, Ellen. I'll poke my tongue out at you, or will you Snapchat? Fine, we'll poke your tongue out at me.
Put Patch Adams on the top of my list then.
Yeah, Patch Adams is definitely a movie I think that everyone should watch. So many of his movies had that quality where, you know, yes, on the one hand you can sort of say, oh, it's just Robin Williams being crazy and funny, but so many of them have these really amazing, heartfelt messages underneath them, and I think that's the secret to Robin Williams. Like, I love Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey has a lot of the same qualities that Robin Williams does. You know, he's got the comedy and the humor, and you know, he does the voices and the faces and all that stuff. But for quite a few of Jim Carrey's movies, they're missing the heart, and that's what Robin Williams brought. I think he really brought the heart and that actual Robin Williams-ness to his movies.
I also think Jim Carrey tried too hard with the poop jokes, and just a lot of his stuff to me felt kind of forced when it came to the bodily humor, and also just, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know if it's hypocritical of me or whatnot, but like Jim Carrey body humor didn't relate to it for me the way it seemed forced, but say Steve Zaragoza does something similar, and it just seems hilarious, and it cracks me up. Maybe because there's more heart, maybe like you're saying, that's because the heart's there. That's where Robin Williams comes in, where it's like he can pretty much do it and do most of it. I mean, like I guess one of the things that kind of irritated me with the Cable Guy is when Jim Carrey has his nipple up to the screen and he's like rubbing it, and it's like,
yeah.
But
I must admit, though, with the Cable Guy, just to talk about Jim Carrey for a second, I freaking love this scene at medieval times. And they're like fighting. That cracks me up every time. Because I also love medieval times, and I wish there was a medieval times in New Zealand, but there's not.
So do I.
So on Robin, there's been a couple of Robin Williams movies that we probably haven't touched on as much as I thought maybe we would have. One of them is The Birdcage, which was hilarious. There was a remake of, was it a French one originally? And then also What Dreams May Come. And What Dreams May Come is a movie I want to watch again so much, but I think it's still a little bit too raw to turn around and watch that movie. I mean, you know, it's all about how after he died in a car crash and then he's searching the afterlife looking for his wife, and I'm like, that I can't watch just yet. Maybe in a month or two's time I might be able to, but... And my husband just reminded me, we also haven't talked much about Bicentennial Man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, how have I not talked about Bicentennial Man yet?
Yeah, I think Alan or Chris mentioned Bicentennial Man for a little bit. I can use words. Bicentennial.
Words, word vomit. God, but yes, so Bicentennial Man. Now, I have a big love for this movie as well because Sam Neill's in it, and you know he's a Kiwi, and anything that has any sort of attachment to New Zealand, I'm suddenly like, best movie ever. But in this one, I actually feel quite justified in being able to say best movie ever. Like how he, at the very beginning, when he is 100% solely robot, before he has sort of begun that transition into, you know, being classed as a human at the end after, you know, living for 200
my
years.
god.
If you haven't seen it by now, my God. But the fact that even then, just as a robot, you still the way he was the best person I could have ever thought of to play that role, because the fact that the whole concept of this thing that is just supposed to be a robot with no actual human emotions and feelings, but that's what makes him so special, is the fact that he is the only person I can really think of that had that power and that ability to really emote that. Or am I completely wrong on that?
No,
No.
I think you're right. I mean, I couldn't imagine anyone in a similar mould getting the success that he did. I mean, I couldn't see Jim Carrey going in that direction, or Vince Vaughn, or well, Grant, what's his face, Carol. I can't see any of those doing a serious role and carrying it properly. I mean, Jim Carrey tried with the number 23.
Yeah.
But I truly believe that Robin's heart was in the serious roles, and that's why we love him so much, and that's why he carried it so well. But I guess that's why he was an actor and a comedian, not just a comedian.
Yeah.
God, I love that movie so much. Oh, I just want to watch it again and again and again.
Oh, well, going back to the Birdcage, though, that is one of my favorite movies in the world. Because it brings the genie and it brings Timon. And they just are together, and they're the best people in the world. Nathan Lane and Robin are the best. I'm just gonna bring that out there. We can continue Bicentennial Man. I just had to say that.
Well, I'll jump on you with that one, at least with the Birdcage. How about that? I like the Birdcage a lot because Robin Williams steps back and lets Nathan Lane be the crazy character in that, and I thought that was cool. He let Nathan Lane just go nuts, and Robin Williams had to be the reserved one that cares about his son and everything, and he just kind of let Nathan Lane just do his thing, and I still like the movie a lot. All right, back to Bicentennial Man, which I don't really
I think both talk about both of them. But I mean, it comes back to everything that I've been reading, that all the celebrities that have obviously been posting up tributes and things. And yes, everyone talks about what an amazing actor he was and what he brought, but the one thing that everybody talks about is how kind and generous of spirit he was, and that is what has made him such an endearing legend, and that is going to live on.
They said he never showboated or anything like that. He never did anything for the press. The big thing I found out, I knew this before a little bit, but the USO show. I mean, how many people knew that he did the USO show? He never just went out and blabbed about it. He just went and did it. He just went to the troops, and I liked that a lot. That was.
I can chime in on that one. It is really interesting because he went just about every year, and he went around Christmas time. To do those USO shows. I actually saw him in Kandahar in 2003.
Oh, nice. That's so cool.
Yeah. And it was right before Christmas. It was I was like 22 at the time or so. My actual first Christmas away from home, and it was in Afghanistan. And I was away from my unit at the time. I was back in Kandahar. They were out on the border. So again, personally, it was a kind of lonely time, and then all of a sudden Robin Williams shows up and he's doing this live performance, and it was hilarious. I mean, everything you'd think about a Robin Williams live performance is exactly what it was. It was wild, it was kind of dirty, it was funny, but he really cared, and he knew his audience. He could riff with the Air Force guys, he could riff with the Army guys, with the Special Forces guys. Sure. He had all that stuff. He knew his audience, and he was just having a lot of fun with it. And you could tell he really loved being there. And I went, and I saw, he did that about every year or so. And he went back several times. Even though his politics were against the war, he's always there for the troops. So it was great.
That's a great thing, actually. A great idea. Against the war, there for the troops. I like that. Sorry, Liam being cheesy here. Moving on.
I think he was just an all-round incredible person, and I know he's someone that we're all gonna miss. And yeah. it's just like it's obviously very different for us than it is for his family and his very close friends, but it's what he did. He made everyone feel like he was family to them, and
Yes.
I'm oh God, I'm getting really emotional now. So I think we'll probably leave it there. We could talk for hours about Robin Williams and his movies and what he brought to them, and even things like I just sort of saw the cameo guest spot that him and Billy Crystal did on Friends, and I'd completely forgotten about it, but it was just hilarious. And yeah, we're always going to have those moments. So I think rather than all of us signing off separately today, I think I just want to just sort of leave it out there that our thoughts are out there with Robin Williams' family and his friends. If you haven't seen a Robin Williams movie, go and watch them. Just pick anything that we talked about and go and watch them. You won't regret it. So, does anyone have anything else that they want to add? Because I think that's probably a good place to leave it today.
That's very well said.
Robin Williams. I just watched this. I just want to say because he had a really good one. It was inside the actor's studio, and the last question they always asked him is like, if heaven exists, what would you want God to say, and or what would you like heaven to be? And he said, I just hope there's laughter, and I guarantee there is now. Guarantee it with Robin Williams up there.
Yeah, I mean, aside from saying WTF, what have you been doing with your life if you haven't seen a Robin Williams movie?
Yeah. So, to Robin Williams, we just want to say thank you for the memories. And everyone go and watch a Robin Williams movie this weekend. You won't regret it. So from all of us here at Movie Club Strikes Back, we're going to sign off today. And for all of our details, you can find them down below. But we're just going to leave it here for tonight. So see you guys next week. And we will talk to you guys all later. Okay? Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.